Welcome to the Drug Research and Development for Adults Across the Older Age Span workshop. My name is James Appleby. I'm CEO of the Gerontological Society of America. I've had the privilege of serving as chair of the planning committee for this workshop. And on behalf of that planning committee, I'd like to thank you. Thank you for joining us for what we believe you will find to be a very compelling two-day exploration of this issue. I'd like to extend a hearty thank you to the Planning Committee for their work in shaping the agenda over the past several months and for identifying speakers who can bring the issue to light for all of us. Biographies for the Planning Committee members, as well as all the speakers, are available in the workshop's extensive electronic briefing book, which has been provided to all registrants. Now, standing roundtables of the National Academies, the Forum on Drug Discovery, Development, and Translation, the Forum on Aging, Disability, and Independence, and the National Cancer Policy Forum. If you're not familiar with these groups, they serve as ongoing neutral platforms for stakeholders from government, academia, industry, foundations, and consumer and patient groups to discuss and confront issues of mutual interest. Through workshops, such as today's, and other activities, these roundtables bring together thought leaders to focus public attention on critical areas and to foster collaborative activity and address them going forward. Now, they say that timing is everything, and that certainly relates to this workshop, which was envisioned long before the COVID-19 pandemic turned our world upside down. Yet, the disproportionate impact that COVID-19 has on older adults, especially those with underlying, is a stark reminder of the need to improve drug research and development for this population. This workshop is timely indeed, and it is the Planning Committee's hope that it will serve as a catalyst for change in how older adults are included in clinical trials going forward. Perhaps this can be a pivot point from what is now to what can be in the future, building upon many of the learnings and innovations that have emerged as a result of the pandemic. Now, this workshop builds on previous National Academies and Institute of Medicine work, such as a 1990 IOM workshop on drug development for the geriatric population. So that workshop is now 30 years old. A 1997 IOM workshop on pharmacokinetics and drug interactions in the elderly and special issues in elderly African American populations. And more recently, built upon the work of NIH in 2017 with their inclusion across the lifespan work. However, this workshop will be breaking a lot of new ground, especially by addressing drug research and development for older adults in the era of COVID-19 and beyond. The portion of the workshop titled Across the Older Age Span is very deliberately chosen, and it's chosen to recognize the fact that older adults are not a homogeneous group. The title reinforces the need for enhancements in how we do research and development for all age groups, 65 plus, 75 plus, 80 plus. The workshop is broken into three major sessions. The first session will provide a landscape of sort of where we are now as it relates to clinical trials and research and development, drug research and development for older adults. The second will look at a couple of major confounding issues that make it a challenge, having to do in particular with the comorbid illnesses that older adults experience, as well as the multiple medications that they're on to manage their chronic conditions. And then the final session will be tomorrow, and it will be on the era of COVID-19 and beyond, and what innovations are happening now and what could happen in the future. Now, there are a few important aspects of National Academies workshops that I'd like to point out for the audience. First, in accordance with National Academies procedures, an independent planning committee organized this workshop. The workshop itself will be a standalone activity. It is not part of an ongoing consensus study by the National Academies. A summary of the presentations and discussions made during the workshop will be prepared, and will reflect what transpires at the workshop. The summary will be prepared in accordance with institutional policy and made broadly available to the public. All views presented in the summary will be those of workshop participants, and it will not contain findings or recommendations by the planning committee. The written proceedings that will be produced after this workshop will be a factual account of what was discussed at the workshop and will be published by and as a product of the National Academies. There are a few things that I want all participants to note. First of all, this is a live webcast. It is being transcribed to aid in the summary. However, the transcription itself will not be made publicly available after the workshop. Rather, that transcription will support staff as they are preparing the workshop summary. Questions, and I certainly hope you have questions out there for the panelists that will be presenting today and tomorrow. If you have questions, please use the Q&A feature as part of this Zoom platform to submit questions to the panelists. And as a reminder to all speakers on the panels, please be sure to have your microphone muted when not speaking. Those on Twitter, there is a hashtag for the workshop today. It's hashtag older adults clinical trials. That's plural adults and plural trials. So hashtag older adults clinical trials. We hope you'll tweet early, tweet often about the workshop today and tomorrow. The link to the webcast videos and slides presented at today's workshop will be posted on the workshop webpage after the workshop. And finally, we will be taking a couple of short breaks as noted in your meeting materials. About 11:30 a.m. we'll have a short break, and then at 1 p.m. as well, Eastern time, we'll be having a short break. To get us started this morning, it is my honor to introduce Dr. Jerry Gurwitz, who will be moderating our first session, and it's titled Inclusion of Older Adults in Clinical Trials, an Evolving Landscape. Dr. Gurwitz is a geriatrician. He's the Dr. John Myers Professor of Primary Care Medicine at the UMass Medical School, where he also serves as the Chief of the Division of Geriatric Medicine and Executive Director of the Myers Primary Care Institute. Dr. Gurwitz, please take it away.